Hey, and welcome to another week of Libertarians at Large. My name is Eric Rautzep, and this is where we discuss the week in news and express a libertarian point of view to the goings-on in our nation and abroad. We welcome your comments and questions in the chat box, so feel free to comment regularly. We may share your comment on the air. This week, I'm joined with my fellow at-large members, Valerie Sarwak and Laura Ebke. How are you ladies doing?
Doing well.
And then this week, very special guest from New York, Thomas Queter. How are you doing, sir?
Good, bad, ugly, libertarian. That's my usual response.
Oh, I know that's true.
Hey, look at that in the comments section already. Ryan Jenkins was at his school board meeting.
Nice.
Today was like the first day of 8th grade, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's awesome that he went to the school board meeting. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, so what a week. What an absolute week. I mean, actually, we couldn't have timed you being on the show, Thomas, better, because we talked about this almost a month ago to get you onto the show, and then the week before, Cuomo blows up. I mean, we couldn't have timed this better. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I guess we should just kind of dive right in. Before we dive into Cuomo, though, let's talk about what you've got going on in New York and what common sense you want to bring to New York in general. I know you're running again for Senate 52, and I'm excited about this. Here's your webpage right here. Tell me about it. What's making you run again? What are the goals?
So the number one goal is to win. I mean, that's why we run. If this is electoral politics, we're trying to get libertarians in office. That's the number one goal. However, as I saw in my last race, running a good campaign actually helps increase registration. In my district, it went up by 60% by October. That's pretty amazing in my eyes.
Absolutely.
But you also run to give people a sense that there's at least somebody trying who cares. That they don't seem to get that from other avenues. What they get is directions on who they're supposed to hate today, right? It's good to go out and meet people and show them that a human being wants to be their representative, that someone who understands their plight or understands their passions, wants them to succeed in life and wants their environment to be better. And to that note, my main initiative with my run is the economy. I mean, this is New York. And the economy was the number one issue before COVID, and now we've lost over 100,000 small businesses within the first 6 months of the COVID reaction. I'm not sure where it is now, but it's got to be worse. And we really, really need to understand for individuals and small businesses, and in particular with District 52, I'm concerned about the small farms. We saw property taxes take a huge jump when farm stores were shut down, farmers markets weren't operating. That's where the small farms thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thomas, I was just going to ask you, what does your district look like? Is it rural? Is it out in the city, or where is it?
So we have Broome County, which is the seat and contains the largest city, and then we have 3 other counties involved in the district that are completely rural, but a bunch of Broome counties also rural. So it's a rural district with a urban seat, and unfortunately, that urban seat does seem to take up all of the attention.
And how big is the urban seat? What was the town you said?
Binghamton.
Okay, how big is that?
I'm not sure the exact population.
About? Okay.
But there's 110,000 registered voters in the district, so it does contain all of Tioga, a little more than half of Chenango, and a part of Delaware County.
So Binghamton, New York has 45,140 people as of 2019.
Right. And how many of them would have been voters?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that information I don't have.
So the good news is that we did run an excellent campaign last cycle. I did take 12.4%, which is over 13,000 votes. And that's a good base to start. I'm pretty well known now. This is the hard part to wrap my head about. It is getting recognized in public. I went to my ophthalmologist and got recognized by the staff. It's just something I didn't expect.
Tom, you're pretty recognizable.
I do stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, there's no better branding than a tank. A very libertarian crowd-funded tank of a wheelchair, by the way.
Great.
Yes, I got to see it in action with the hydraulics.
Now, it's got hydraulics, it's got an air suspension, it's got an oil bath transmission, dual motors, got 110 pounds of batteries.
How fast does it go? 0 to 60? Yeah.
I actually think the sad part is the government regulates them to be no higher than 8. You used to be able to get right up to 20, but that was regulated down, probably because of people like me. But the important part is, so it's actually a rugged off-road wheelchair, if you will. But what that does is that ensures it has a suspension. A lot of these wheelchairs that aren't meant to go off the sidewalk don't have anything worth noting for a suspension. And with my condition, that's what I need. But that was no longer available. So,
Hey, Tom. There's a great question here, and we'll let you take it first. It's from Jade, and Jade asks, "I'm a Republican. Can someone tell me why I should be this? Why should Jade be a Libertarian?"
wow. Well, I would ask Jade about her specific issues if this were in person. But Libertarians do more with less. And I was just talking about my wheelchair. The government would spend $19,000 on a wheelchair that would injure me and send me to the bed and create a terrible fate. Whereas Libertarians spent about 1/3 of that and prolonged my life by 8 to 12 years. So, and they did so voluntarily. Nobody forced them to give up their money. If that kind of comparison doesn't help you, I don't know what would.
Great.
So yeah, Jade, if there are particular issues that are very important to you, we'll be happy to discuss some of them, and hopefully we can answer your questions there. Angie also is she's not a registered libertarian, but she's really disgusted with both parties, and she's happy to hang with us for a little while. We're glad to have you, Angie.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Give it a shot. Remember, Libertarian Party is about consensus. We have our principles, but we welcome people from many places. We are a big tent.
So Jade has followed up her question and has asked, how do we feel about Democrats?
I live in New York. I'd really appreciate it if they stopped trying to kill me.
Right.
I think the way I look at it, and feel free to disagree with me, Laura, Valerie, or Thomas, they're one of the old parties. They're not very difficult or different than the Republicans in a lot of ways. And they aren't serving the best interest of the American people any longer. They still talk a good game, but when it comes to actually putting the rubber on the road, they're not doing anything.
Well, the reality of it is, isn't it that both parties are really talk a good game?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but they're really, you know, two sides of the same coin. They're both heading us towards more government, more statism, just in different issues.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we need to keep in mind, that both parties want more government for their little pet projects,
Yep.
and their little pet issues, but it's us that says we can all do this better, and so
another problem that I
by not doing it
is that sometimes you have a good person, a good politician, try to enter the Republican or the Democratic parties, and the machine just squats.
Yeah.
You don't get a chance, right? It keeps good people out of politics.
Darby would like to remind us that there is only one party out there, the Republicans.
Right. I mean, they're bankrupting us right now, right?
Right, exactly.
How many Republicans signed on for that giant infrastructure bill that really has a bunch of other crap built into it? 19, including Lindsey Graham?
So
right?
here's the amazing thing. They passed the $1 trillion infrastructure bill this week.
Yeah.
And then the next day, they passed a $3.4 trillion addition to that increases funding for education, funding for Medicare, the National Park Service. The list goes on, and it is considered the addendum to the infrastructure bill, but has nothing to do with the infrastructure of the nation.
Right. Yeah.
It's amazing. So now we have, in the course of 1 week, the Republicans and the Democrats have gotten together and passed $4.3 trillion of infrastructure that has nothing to do with infrastructure.
So how many trillions is that in the last 18 months?
Quite a few. In the last 18 months, I think we're somewhere close to 14 or 16 trillion dollars of additional spending.
So, and how many parties held the White House?
In the last 18 months, 2.
And did they both spend money like that?
Oh, yes. They did. They did. They spend it as fast as they can print it.
Which 2 parties was that?
That would be the Republicans and the Democrats.
So I hope maybe we've helped answer the question on why we're there.
Yes. Joseph also says the private money press goes brrr. And that's exactly how the government's acting right now.
And it is always a question, at what point does this go solvent?
Oh yeah, we could have a long discussion about global economics and recessionary points and all of that stuff, but I will defer people to watch other episodes of Libertarians at Large, where we've dived into that a little bit.
Valerie and I won't be here.
After a year of being with Eric on this show, I can tell you that the exact point that he would say would be when the IMF changes the currency away from the American dollar. Am I right?
Yeah. That's actually kind of amazing that I must have hammered that point home that many times. Yeah. So yes, there are multiple episodes of Libertarians at Large where I get on my soapbox about that. But let's talk about what everyone wants to talk about this week.
Yes.
Cuomo. Oh, Cuomo.
Before we get into this story, a lot of people aren't aware. There's been a billboard up for some time in Albany with no date on it and no other, just Cuomo for president. That's all it says.
I think that ship sailed.
Right. That's been up for a while. Isn't that funny?
So bad.
Well, I think this effectively has ended any presidential hopes that man has had. I mean,
we would like to hope so, but look at the past. We did still get Biden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, but he didn't resign from anything. He didn't, he may not be great, but he didn't resign. But I think that, politically speaking, during the early days of the pandemic, Cuomo was very visible and doing his daily briefings. And, I mean, people were talking to him like he was America's governor, talking about him like he was America's governor and all that sort of stuff. And, most of us just rolled our eyes and said, yeah, not so much. But there were some that thought that he was something else. And what's happened is his star has fallen. So
that's interesting. It seems like the more time you spend on TV and the less time you spend doing your job, the more people think you're doing your job.
Right. It is ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many things that he should have resigned over, and his what do you call it? The rating, your likability. What is it called?
Yeah.
Likability.
Yeah, the
approval.
Public approval. Yeah, like that word. Duh. That was always so low, and it's like nobody wants you, nobody likes you. You got elected, but now get a clue, dude. Resign. I mean, he killed a bunch of old people. I'm glad that he finally decided, this is the point that I have to go. But wow, like, what else had to go wrong for him to realize, like, you're not a good person?
He should be charged with so many different things.
Yeah.
Tenure, and I hope some more of this comes out. I hope he faces more charges, but this is New York, and it's doubtful.
The fiasco with the replacement of the Tappan Zee Bridge being renamed after his father, and then all the bills came due just before election day, and he asked the contractor not to submit the bills until after the election, and he would give them an additional kickback.
Mm-hmm.
So then all of a sudden he went on television just before the election beating his chest about how this bridge got built under budget, knowing that all the bills were asked to be deferred until after the election, just so he could look better. And now there's it had like a 25% overrun in cost.
Right.
And it's probably one of the most boondoggle expenditures that New York has ever undergone. I mean, come on.
Every time he turns around, he wastes money. Every time he turns around, he has an effect in some way that detriments to people.
Oh, absolutely.
And people are leaving New York at like record rates.
New York was the third fastest shrinking state as per the census report that came out today.
Yeah, we lost a congressional district, and I just want to point out, New York passed a budget bigger than all but 20 nations on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many nations there are?
219.
That's crazy.
Yep.
The budget is the last thing that California actually beats us at. We were just moved down below California for being the least state.
Well, yeah, the California budget is the 5th largest budget in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, Joseph Hinman a little bit ago said that he is thinking about he'd like to run for office in Georgia.
Oh, nice.
Looking into running for office in Georgia. However, it's hard to appeal to leftists and Republicans at the same time. He'd love to run as a libertarian.
Talk straight. Listen to people. Listen to their concerns first. Try to use their own words to bring your message to what their concerns are.
That's really great advice. I think that's something that we as libertarians forget a lot. We're trying to convince people to come over to, our way of thinking, and we forget that, we're asking them to vote for us, and we ought to be listening and empathizing a little bit. And, libertarians have a great message for just about every problem out there, probably every problem out there. And we just need to learn how to present it in a way that, doesn't terrify people.
Libertarians is the party of common sense. And if we can present common sense solutions in a compassionate way, there is nothing that's going to stop us from holding every elected office in this country.
And that's a good segue into the fact that I managed to bring a Democratic State Committee member in New York over to support me by discussing health care and welfare solutions. Because we have the same problems, we have the same concerns, but I actually offer solutions.
Yep.
Right.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yes. Everyone
Common
wants
sense.
someone to do something about whatever problem, but no one wants to provide the solution. And that's where we step in. So,
So, you know, be prepared with your solutions, but also be prepared to use their language that they use and discuss the problems that they bring. If you don't meet people where they're at, where their concerns are, that they're not going to care about it.
So what's your what's your lieutenant governor going to be like as governor, Thomas? Is it just going to be more of the same?
If you look at her website on a mobile device, it's just a picture of Cuomo. So that kind of
oh boy. It's Cuomo in a mustache.
I forget what the website actually says. It's kind of funny, but she doesn't even appear on her own website on the mobile devices. I think on a PC, if you bring it up, she does. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be better.
No.
Okay,
New York is a long ways from getting better. Right?
Yeah. So Justin Massaro says, "How do I get in on this?" Registered libertarian who ran for Board of Education in his city. Justin, contact Eric, and we'll have some conversations about we've got our shows lined up by through the end of September.
Actually, now halfway through October.
So, but if you're interested in getting on and talking, and we're always looking for people who've run for office or we're going to run for office, regular old libertarians. We'd love to have someone on with us. So,
yep, this is a wholesome show.
It's a very wholesome show.
A wholesome show.
Congratulations for living in a city where they allow you to vote on your board of education. New York City has an awful lot of lower positions where even in upstate they're elected. In the city they're not. And we see this upstate downstate divide a lot, and you have to realize, even as upstaters, we have to realize those poor people don't have near as much local control as we do.
Yeah, here in New Hampshire, you vote for every single thing that you vote for, selectman, which is the person that counts the ballots at the election. Everything down to, I don't think dog catcher, but there's so many people on the ballot, and it's a city of 110,000 people. It's nuts.
We have the weed control board in Nebraska that you run for. I mean, we run for everything. I mean, Nebraska is super. Yeah, it's everything. Weed control board. That's pretty close to the dog catcher. But we don't run for dog catcher. That position has been taken up by the local police department. But yeah, we do. We have we have more. You get into the ballot box. Get to the voting booth, and it's like, okay, I have no idea who these people are. And then you have all of these positions that are just blank because nobody's bothered to file. So,
do they appoint when nobody files?
They usually appoint. Like the county, like for some of those, the county commissioners can appoint until the next election. Most of those are on 4-year terms that rotate. Half the board every 2 years, and so they can appoint until the next election, or the board itself in some cases can appoint. But
start filing for your family members.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of the next election and the governorship of New York, we're all hoping here in New York that Larry Sharp decides to run again for 2022. And of course, I am running in 2022. You can go to tomfor52.com. My policies are there. Check me out. If you like me, hit the donate button. We have no ballot line.
And Tom,
We have petition.
I'm just looking at your website right now. That donate button seems like it's in the upper right-hand corner right there.
That it is. And it has our goal and the percentage raised so far. Purely for petitioning purposes. We do have to shoot for somewhere around.
Oh, I love that
40.
picture.
Yeah, a fan made that.
I run better than Albany. I love it.
So we do have a goal, 10,000 for petitioning periods. We get that done. The requirement is 3,000, but of course in New York it means you have to shoot for somewhere around 4,500.
Yeah.
They'll try to invalidate signatures in any way they can, regardless of how valid they are.
So Jared's asking me how many letters are behind people's names in Nebraska, and I have no idea what he's talking about. So he's going to have to.
If you notice at the top, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Notice at the top of that donation page that Eric was scrolling.
Yeah, 23%.
23.
Nice.
$10,000 raised, and we haven't done any fundraisers.
Okay.
So, what this came from? I know Valerie's familiar with the app Clubhouse.
Yes. A little bit.
So I've gotten into the libertarian circles there, and there were a couple of people who were wanting to run for office and libertarians. So the first thing a libertarian wants to run for office needs to learn how to do is ask for money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it costs money. So I was teaching them how to ask for money and giving them my pitch, and all of a sudden they're mimicking my pitch, and podcasters are mimicking my pitch, and they've been going all over Clubhouse and mimicking my pitch with the website and the donation, and between that and a couple of rooms that they started to raise funds organically on their own, we come up that.
That's awesome. That's
It's
really
tough.
awesome.
Okay, I have to clear this up. So Jared was asking me about our ballot. We have a lot of nonpartisan races in Nebraska, so you don't have the R's or the D's or the L's in a lot of lines. And I've always believed that we should take advantage of that and go meet people where they are, and that the libertarians could do very well in that particular instance, in most cases, not so much in mine, but because I was very public in my party switch. But as a general rule for school boards, most city council races are nonpartisan. The legislature in Nebraska is nonpartisan. We get sort of a weird mishmash. So like county offices are partisan, but most city offices aren't, school boards aren't, and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah.
So if you live in a place where there's nonpartisan races, jump in there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to cut your teeth and get into the political arena.
And
You
knock
develop-
on as many doors as you can.
Knock on lots
Yes.
of doors. You develop some real credibility then by operating in some of those arenas. If you sit on a school board that's nonpartisan for 8 or 12 years, then you actually get a chance to, you've got some credibility when you run for something else. You say, look, I served on your school board for 12 years. I wasn't crazy. when you run for something that is partisan, so.
Yeah, and David brings up a point that approval voting seems like a great way to allow non-major parties to thrive. And there's actually a great discussion going on about approval voting, ranked choice voting. There's a lot of great pieces coming out from the Libertarian Party and from other organizations regarding exactly that, especially that so many other states are starting to embrace approval or ranked choice voting.
Yeah, check out Race to Vote too.
Yep.
I've gotten involved with the ranked choice New York movement here.
Yeah, they're in all 50 states as well as Puerto Rico, and they're They're a great organization with some really solid talking points and ideas.
Yeah, it makes people less afraid. I spent the weekend with my dad, who is way too into Fox News right now. But he said, "Well, why are you voting? Why would you vote for a libertarian? They can't win." And our football team, being from the DC area, is the Washington football team, and they haven't won in years. And my husband's like, "Yeah, but you root for this team, and what do you get out of that?" And he's like, "Well, I love them as a team." Like, okay, well, we believe in this, we love them, and so now the point is like, let's try and figure out how we can use these other systems to make other people love us as well and open their eyes. You're not winning a sports bet. You're picking what you believe in, not picking the winner, right?
Right. It's interesting because so many people haven't really heard of the LP, don't really understand what we stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, when you look at the voter demographics, what we have is an increase in the independently registered, non-party registered to vote. And I find them to be apathetic because they don't have anything to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like that's right for libertarians. I know a lot of libertarians here myself.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's apathy at that point.
So Reed asks a good question, and it's our purpose to help educate, right? He says, in other states, you have to register as a Republican or Democrat, and actually, it's across. It's crazy across the country. Different states have different rules. Like in Nebraska, you can register Republican or Democrat or Libertarian or nonpartisan, which then gives you the opportunity to have a primary if you got a recognized party. In other states, you don't you just register, and then you're assigned to a party based on which primary ballot you pulled the last time. And there's all sorts of crazy rules, and so you just have to kind of know the rules in your own state.
Yeah, New Hampshire libertarians don't have major party status, so we have to register as undeclared.
North Carolina, we're still the Libertarian Party is still on the ballot and a recognized party. Constitution and Green, though, they fell off this last election, and now they got to fight to get back on.
Yeah, that's the way it used to be in Nebraska, but we're permanent now. As long as our registration numbers don't fall below 10,000. So
yeah, you're fine. Nebraska.
Yeah. We're up to about 20,000 now. So.
Very good. Well, I think it's that time of night for our most exciting portion of the show. At least I think so.
It's the fun part when the people who tune in late get on and tell us that we're terrible people.
Yeah, and we're ignoring all the issues.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. It's time for Washington Weekly News Quiz, provided by PBS. This is where we get to test our knowledge of the week in news. So, which of the following details were included in the report released Monday by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change? The past 5 years have been the hottest on record since 1850. Nations can prevent the worst projected outcomes by stopping carbon dioxide emissions by 2050, and the Earth's temperature has gone up by more than 1 degree in Celsius since 1900. It can be multiple because it's choose all that apply.
So I think it's all of them.
I think so too.
And I also feel really bad for people who lived in the 1850s because it's super hot right now and we have air conditioning.
Yes.
And we didn't have to wear petticoats today.
So we're thinking that it's all three?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's a smart choice. And it's correct.
A good start. Oh boy.
That is a good start.
Okay, here's one for you, Thomas.
Aha! Which of these facts around New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's resignation are true? The resignation paves the way for Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul to become New York's first female governor. the New York General Assembly has already closed its impeachment process probe into Cuomo, and Cuomo's resignation takes effect immediately.
Well, it's at least the first one and not the last one. But it might be the second one as well.
To my knowledge, actually, they are not closing it until after his resignation.
Until he's gone.
Yeah. So I think it's only the top one.
Yep.
And that's correct.
Hey.
Yeah, we were all aware of the sad news that it was not effective immediately.
Yeah, why the 2-week delay? I don't get that.
Takes a while to pack up everything, you know?
He got exposed to COVID.
Do we really need to
Yeah, he has to quarantine in the mansion. Select all of that apply. Which of the following actions has the Senate taken relating to President Biden's infrastructure proposals?
all the ones that are bad.
Yeah, right. They passed a resolution that serves as a blueprint for a broad $3.5 trillion bill. They passed a roughly $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, or they voted down both bills.
Well, we know they didn't vote down any bills.
No.
Yeah, that was a big one.
So it's, hey, look, we're going to spend $4.5 trillion. Yay! We actually talked about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah. They do love to spend money.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Congress and senators, that's what they live for. We made it illegal for them to bounce checks, so now they're going to bounce the checks that the government writes.
Right.
You know, it's funny. Here in Nebraska, we have, we're pretty red, and we have our Republican senators make a lot out of being conservative, and yet the favorite senator is usually Senator Fisher, right, for the Republicans, and not Senator Sass. Senator Sass is more conservative. It's confusing, but Senator Sass is more conservative, and Senator Fisher is generally the one that they like the most. But she voted for the bill, the infrastructure bill. And man, the Republicans on my timeline were going after her. It's time for her to go.
Yes.
I bet.
You know,
I bet.
That's
funny.
irresponsible.
Yeah.
She should drive an Uber. Isn't that what Sass does? He drives an Uber.
He does actually something. And he sells runses at football games.
Oh my God. I don't know why people don't like him more.
Because he's kind of pretentious. You know, he's a nice guy. I like him okay. I mean, but he's kind of he's an academic type. So
yeah. Hate those guys.
Mm.
In which state have school districts defied a statewide ban on masks as schools open this week? Would that be Florida, North Dakota, or New York?
Florida.
I think there's only one logical choice on that one.
Florida, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But I did see, but I think it's Florida. But I saw a thing today that said that there were some schools that were filing suit against Abbott down in Texas.
Yes.
So that they could ignore his mask ban thing. So
yes, there are some schools in Texas that are filing, but they have not just said no. Children should not be wearing masks. I
misread the question. Yes.
Yeah.
The governor is apparently paying Florida tax dollars also to private schools that are making no masks necessary. Like, I don't know. Some of my family members are like, wow, that's great. I'm like, that's still bad. Like, why is he spending your tax dollars paying for people's private education to ensure that they don't have to wear a mask at school? Like, they shouldn't be spending the government money on that at all. But that's a whole other can of worms. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
What's the masking like in New York right now, Thomas?
Oh jeez. Depends on where you are. I know a friend of mine's at the Tioga County Fair right now, and he's saying less than 1% of people are wearing masks.
Yeah.
And that's a low vaccination rate county as well.
Mm.
You don't see it too much in my hometown or in Shenango. But if you get out to an urban area where there's more shops, you'll see more shops are continuing to request that you wear a mask, and so more people have a mask on. And I don't know if that's because they want to wear a mask or because they just want to patronize shops.
So here in Durham County, we just this week we reinstituted our mask mandate, but I would say less than 25% of people are actually putting their masks back on.
Oh, okay.
So most people are just saying, yeah, no, I'm done.
Bring a ticket. Well, we traveled this week and earlier last week from New Hampshire down to Virginia, and we stopped in New Jersey at a rest stop, and there was so many people wearing masks that I thought, oh, there must be like a mandate here. We need to go get our masks. And it was really just, there was like an overabundance of caution. And so when we stopped back through, I was like, oh, forget it, we're fine.
Yeah.
So I noticed it as well. I traveled last weekend here in Nebraska, and Nebraska's kind of an anti-mask area, but I always carry one with me anyhow. But it was funny because every time I stopped at a rest area, there were always at least a couple of people that were walking around with masks on. It's like, well, that's unusual for it. But then you'd see which cars they got into, and it was always from out of state. There was always somebody from out of state that was, they don't want the Nebraska cooties, I guess.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like, this is a rest stop. It's not like, suburban New Jersey.
I just traveled to Florida and back by car. And I did notice a difference from location to location. I think it was actually Georgia when we stopped at a Walmart where I saw the most masks.
Wow, at Walmart?
I didn't see all that many masks. There were some, but...
That's impressive.
Yeah, especially at a Walmart in Georgia.
Yeah.
No offense to people.
Apple Ducky raises a really good point here. And I'm a believer in this. I mean, leave masking to the local school boards. I mean, I think that the local school boards know best what the dangers are, for the kids in their, in their areas. And I know that that's, if it's a public school, people get weirded out by it. But by the same token, I've got a 4-year-old going off to school, a 4-year-old granddaughter going off to school, and preschool, and my daughter has her wearing a mask to preschool, even though, and some of the other kids are too, even though it's not mandatory.
Yeah, I mean, right? It's like one of those things where, like, let's leave that up to the parent. Our kids go to a small charter school, and they sent out a survey for the parents, and they're saying, we're going to ask you, do you want us to make this mandatory or voluntary? And it was overwhelmingly voluntary. So nobody's going to make fun of the kid that's wearing a mask, but we also don't feel obligated if we feel, we're vaccinated, our kids are only going to one place, they're not going to COVID hotspots.
So Joseph brings up a point here.
Yes.
And okay.
Yes.
This is why I thought every single libertarian in the country was going to just run out and buy a mask. It's because I thought every single libertarian wanted to conceal their identity.
Have you tried to open your iPhone with a mask on? It just doesn't work.
Exactly.
And so I mean, I think that it's a great way to conceal your identity, to mess up the facial recognition software and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. I mean, Big Brother's watching, and what is better? I mean, in North Carolina, they actually rewrote the law that now you can open or conceal carry with a mask on. And they passed it, so now you can even open or conceal carry with a mask on, and I just don't understand why every single libertarian is not wearing a mask 24/7. But that's just me.
Meanwhile, in New York City, we had 2 laws at the same time. One law stating you had to wear a mask, another law stating it was illegal to wear a mask.
Yep.
Oh, New York.
Yep. Yeah, actually, well, in North Carolina, it was actually the police that got really concerned because it was illegal for everybody, including the police, to carry a firearm and conceal your face in any way. So they pushed through a bill that was a lot bigger than the police wanted, because they only wanted it for the police, but they actually cleared it for everybody. Yeah, there you go. So now in North Carolina, concealed or open carry, you can wear a mask.
Something else I noticed on the road trip that was interesting. It's been over a year, and there are still people who don't know how to wear a mask.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Or they're deliberately not doing it.
Well, I think so.
I think with some of them it's deliberate. They're wearing them down right down to here, and
Yeah.
Okay, we should keep going.
Yeah, we
So
should.
This one is obviously pregnant people.
Yes.
Yeah. The CDC issued a new clear recommendation this week for which group of people to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Yeah, it's pregnant people.
Pregnant people, yeah.
Pregnant
Yeah.
people. That's-
Approximately how many Republican senators signed on to a letter released this week that opposes raising the debt limit?
Probably
12, 37, or 46?
gotta be 12.
I
12,
think it's
right.
12. Yeah.
The
Are
least
you
number
sure?
possible.
I'm thinking it's 37 or 46. There was a lot of people. I didn't count, but there was a lot more than 12 on there. I'm just going to say.
We're just so cynical.
We are. Well, okay. Would 46 be a winning number? Would they actually get it done?
Uh,
I don't think so.
No.
no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't get it done. They would need all 50 Republicans in there to sign off on it, and it still might. It still wouldn't
Well,
get done.
I don't know. 46 would be enough for a filibuster, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, they definitely
Yeah,
do the filibuster.
What about 37?
37 would still give you a filibuster, but definitely wouldn't stop anything.
Ah. Maybe we'll actually see a filibuster.
Right?
I
It's
don't know.
37 or 46, because I've seen the document. It was a lot more than 12, but I haven't counted. Joseph says 12. Daniel says 46.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Steve says that we're idiots. So
Yes.
thanks,
Probably
Steve.
true. We're such idiots. Yeah, probably. I think it's 37 now, because I don't think 46 of them are that responsible.
So we're going to go 37?
Sure.
That's a guess.
The real question.
Oh,
46.
wow. Ah,
Just about the
real
whole
question
Republican
is-
conference, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but do they mean it, or are they just beating their chests?
right.
Yes, that's
They'll
what it
sign
is.
whatever
When-
they're told to sign.
When push comes to
Let's
shove,
wait
they'll
3
sign.
or 4 weeks, and we'll find out.
Right.
Which of the Republicans wasn't on the list? That's the
It doesn't tell you here.
Just a point of note. The proposed Republican opponent that I have coming next cycle, because the incumbent isn't running again, he's running on lowering taxes. He's been mayor of Binghamton for some time. You know what he's done in Binghamton?
raise
Raise
taxes.
taxes.
Yeah,
Cut all the
Funny
taxes.
how that works,
that's what you call a rhino.
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, what incentive is a university in West Virginia taking to handle unvaccinated students?
I know this one. It's West Virginia Wesleyan, and they're fining unvaccinated students.
So they're charging students a fee for not being vaccinated.
Yes.
I believe it.
And so they're private school, so it's probably already pretty expensive.
Yeah. Yes, it's a Methodist
Yeah.
university.
West Virginia Wesleyan College, a small Christian liberal arts school, will not require students to be vaccinated. However, it will charge students a $750 fee if they're unable to show proof of vaccination by September 7th.
And
So what do
yeah,
we think about that?
I think that's fair.
I think it's a great idea.
$750 covers like their cost of,
It's freedom of association.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I mean,
whatever.
they're,
I mean,
a
they're gonna
private, they're a private institution. they're choosing to encourage you to go get a vaccination,
So
like it or not.
And they're covering their costs if you get sick, and they have to like clean everything or whatever. You know? Yeah.
My only problem here, which is an answer that probably can't be had right now, is when did they tell them this requirement, and when was their money out the door?
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like it was pretty recent, and they probably have. I mean, you find out you get into college like in April, so
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So if
most-
you're already on the hook for tuition,
Mhm.
that's coercion. If you're not, it's not.
Okay, so my
agree.
son started. They officially moved in last week, but they start classes on Monday at Doane University, which is a small private institution as well.
Mhm.
And they let them know last week that if you weren't already vaccinated, that it was it was either mandatory for all students and staff and faculty,
Mhm.
or you had to come in, frequently, like weekly, for tests, to get tested and stuff like that. And the thing is that they didn't, they made sure that you had over a month, so that you had until like early September to be fully vaccinated. So if if you were, if you had to do the 2-shot version. So, I'm okay with that. And the University of Nebraska, which is a public institution, is not mandating, but they are strongly suggesting. And you get a free pass. Basically, you get a key card to get in every place if you can show that you've been vaccinated. If you haven't, then you don't get a free pass, and you do have to wear your mask.
Mhm.
I don't know if they mark you with a scarlet N, I think. And I don't think they really do that, but they are, but you do have to wear a mask, and it is, and you have to go in frequently for tests, in that instance. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So
man-
again, for me, it's really only at what point is the money out the door, and at what point were they told?
Yeah, well, that's where I was going to go with this. So we haven't paid the tuition for the fall semester yet. It's not due until like September 7th or something like that. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
President Biden is planning to host a summit of world leaders in December to address what issue? COVID-19 vaccination distribution, democracy, or climate change?
Probably climate change.
Climate
I'm
change.
thinking climate change.
Oh, you guys are going to be surprised by this one.
Uh-oh. Vaccine
Democracy?
distribution?
No,
No.
it is.
Democracy?
Yeah, it's
You can have a-
democracy. But if I get outvoted, I get outvoted.
No,
Everyone
just
said
democracy.
climate change.
Well, why? What kind of
Can it be
summit?
both?
What?
What's a summit about democracy? That's bizarre.
Go ahead. Put
Click it and
democracy.
tell us why. This is strange.
Okay. So yeah, actually, they're getting together to talk about the future of democracy in a digital world, and how is this going to change voting, citizenship, a whole host of different topics that they're actually going to be talking about. The funny thing is, the United States is hosting this, and according to the U.S. government, we're not a democracy.
Right.
So,
I hate to sound like a party pooper, but like the hell, what a friggin' waste of time and money.
Oh, it is. It's hysterical. But yeah, no, it's basically a feel good about what is democracy going to look like in the 21st century. Yay!
And they've got Biden leading this.
Yes,
Okay.
Biden is leading it.
So Chris Galero asks, our student, I'm just going back in time here.
Oh, yeah.
Are students with immune issues able to continue studies if they can't get the vaccine? Yes. In Nebraska, anyhow, if you have a legitimate reason why you can't get the vaccine, autoimmune issues or something like that just won't let you, then you can be excused or allergies or I don't know, whatever.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York.
You just say, but you have to be tested then more.
New York just a year and a half, couple of years ago, kicked out some 30,000 kids over other vaccines, and many of those were kids with disabilities who couldn't get a vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Do we have one more? Two more.
Yep, we got two more. So, it's a space question. Why did NASA announce that it's delaying plans for a 2024 launch of the mission to the moon? The next generation of spacesuits is not ready, a lack of congressional funding for new rockets, or it's planning new partnerships with private space companies on the mission.
Well, our government does like to waste money, and that third one sounds like the best way they can do it and make it sound good.
Yeah.
It's actually the first one.
Oh.
No.
Really?
Yep.
No.
Next generation of spacesuits is not ready. Here's the thing. Tom, you were so right, though. It's all about spending money. Because this program to build the new spacesuit is 4 years behind schedule and $2.5 billion over budget already.
But the old spacesuits still work. It's not like anybody caught fire or had their eyeballs sucked out in space. Why would they need a new?
Well, they want to make a spacesuit that's more mobile and, will allow people to do more things and move more naturally than...
Why don't they talk to Elon Musk?
Well, that's the other great part. I'm glad you brought that up. Because Elon Musk has now said that he will design the spacesuit for nothing additional. Because he's already building the spacesuits because he's planning on
They're using them.
Yeah. He wants to put space births on the moon and on Mars. So he's already in the process of designing these suits. So he's just going to let NASA rent them for cost. And NASA's already told him no.
Could their ultimate goal potentially be to put working class tech slaves on the moon?
Yeah, exactly. Oh. So it's yeah. Yep.
Next.
Joshua I had read that it cost billions to make a new spacesuit and Elon had proposed to make them cheaper. Yep.
Yeah,
it's hysterical. I mean, this is one of those boondoggles. And since the Artemis program has started, this is already the third spacesuit program that they've started because the other two have failed, and we're already way over budget. So this is throwing bad money after more bad money.
Good Lord.
Oh well, we do that with our healthcare and our education.
Yeah. Who did Sony Picture Television announce Wednesday will be the new permanent host of the quiz show Jeopardy? George Stephanopoulos, Katie Couric, or Mike Richards?
It's Mike Richards and Mayim Bialik.
Yes.
So why did they left out the woman for some reason?
Yep. I guess so. Yeah. Oh no, they did. Mayim Bialik, they put her in the comment, but not on the choice. So, yep.
Actress.
Lamar Burton.
Yeah, LeVar Burton was better.
He would have been awesome. He would have been perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he wore the visor every once in a while, You have to have the Star Trek throwback there.
Yeah.
So congratulations, we got a 90 this week. That's great.
Yeah, we're up to date on the news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surprising.
We're almost out of time. Do we have any final announcements? Anything that we've got going on this week coming up?
Not this week.
Tell us anything that you want to pitch one last time before we say goodnight.
Yeah, absolutely. Consider checking out my website. Consider a donation. Petitioning is going to be really hard this season.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't start until April and we're well on our way. But we'll be coming up with other goals for the campaign as well. So every dollar helps. Can't run a good campaign without money. And I took 13% last cycle. I'm making 51% this cycle.
Definitely.
And Apple Ducky's talking my language here. Party grows local. Contact your local party. So if you've
there you go. I love it.
Yep. Yep. I was lucky this past weekend. I don't think I said this yet. We were out doing some training, and out in Ogallala, Nebraska, out in the Panhandle, and we kicked off the new Lincoln and Keith County Libertarian Party affiliate out in the Panhandle, and it was so much fun.
That's
and
awesome.
that was one of those things that brought me a lot of joy. So
Our biggest county in my district, Broome, needs to build a county affiliate. And to that note, I have gotten a booth at the festival in Broome County, which is in October, the Speedy Fest, in hopes of both promoting my campaign and hoping to help form that committee.
all right.
Valerie, anything that you've got going?
No, but I would like to say if anybody who's starting affiliate or just started an affiliate needs any help, please reach out to the Affiliate Support Committee, because that's what we're here for.
And I just want to remind everyone that you can now buy your tickets for the convention in Reno.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you go to, I know, can you believe it's that time already?
Wow.
So if you go to LP, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the webpage.
.org.
What?
.org.
/ convention?
No.
Oh.
LP.
Huh. LP50?
No.
I don't know. Ellen Snow? Let's see.
Oh boy.
Aren't you on the convention committee,
I
Eric?
am.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And I can't remember what the website is. Oh my God.
You must have cleared your cookies.
I did. LNC. Yeah, it's lnc2022.com. Oh my gosh. There we go. lnc2022.com. And bam, right there.
Joshua McCown.
Not only can you register, but the theme contest is going on.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose what the theme is with your dollars, and all of your donations for the theme contest do count towards you becoming a lifetime member.
Nice.
So it is awesome, and go spend lots of money on your favorite theme. And if my internet will actually speed up here, I can actually pull that up. Yep, here. The themes to vote on are Bet on Liberty, Biggest Little Meeting for Liberty, Double Down on Freedom, Foundation of Liberty, Pursuit of Happiness, Free Markets, Free People, Freedom, Tolerance, and Personal Responsibility, Go for the Gold, Legalize Success, Liberty Unmasked, Liberty Wins, Make It Happen, Make Orwell Fiction Again, Many Roads, One Destination, Renovate America, Rise Above It, Roll the Dice for Liberty, Say No to Statists, Take a Chance on Liberty, Biggest Little Idea in the World, Biggest Little Party in the World. So, yeah, definitely.
And how much is a
Definitely go,
lifetime membership? Joseph wants to know how much a lifetime membership is.
So a lifetime membership is a donation of $1,500 over a 12-month period. So definitely. And then you can say that you are a libertarian for your entire lifetime.
I'm hoping to make it in 2022.
Yes.
We know you will, Tom.
Sparks, Nevada.
Sparks, Nevada, right outside of Reno. Sparks is actually like a city inside Reno. It's a little interesting, but yeah.
It's like the Vatican.
So some
Yeah,
libertarians-
yeah, exactly. The Vatican is a perfect example of
Is
that.
it as pure as the Vatican?
No,
Okay.
no.
So I hear that some libertarians are planning a off-site party to raise money for candidates, myself included. I'm hearing that this is a toga party. Beware the toga party. It will probably happen.
But on that note, I'm going to say goodnight, everyone. We will see you again next week where our guest will be Sam Robb from Pennsylvania. Thomas, thank you so much for being on this week. It has been such a pleasure to have you on. I love always talking with you. We've had some of the greatest conversations, you and I, and I'm sure Valerie and Laura think the same.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you for having me. And tell Sam I said hi. I'll probably be seeing him next month.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So,
thanks, everybody.
and thank you to all of our viewers. We'll see you again next week when we have Sam Robb as a guest. Have a great night, everyone, and have a great week.